Istanbul couldn't attend this meeting and said we would love to see what is the outcome. So we are going to record this. Please, if you are not happy for your picture to be shown, just let us know. And we have amazing people who can do the edits. So this is the first thing. The second thing, we're going to, after we complete this consultancy, to write something about it and send it to everyone. We have invited 30 organizations. We are lucky to have around 20 attending today. Some of them are late. They told us they have other commitments. Yeah. So please let us know if anyone doesn't want to his or her picture to be shown in the video. Just tell my colleague to tell me there, and we will have this done. Yeah. So I think we can start now. So the chair, yeah, Khalid.
Thank you very much, Omar. Marhaba. My name is Khalid Mudallal, or in Arabic Khalid al-Mudallal, which translates to Khalid the Spoiled. I've been asked to chair today's meeting. It's an open discussion about what's been set out, the Arab contributions timeline. It's an open discussion that we're going to share amongst ourselves to really look into the Arab contributions within this country. As I said earlier, I was quite surprised by the facts and the timeline of Arabs that have come to this country. Some studies are stating that there's 500,000 of Arab descent who live and reside in this country. Some about 350,000. But for sure, living around Park Royal, there's plenty of Arabs, which is great. I think Arabs have contributed quite massively to the culture, to the food, to somehow politics. In my background, I moved from Gaza back in 2001 to Bradford, and guess what? Moving in Bradford, July 2001, was Bradford riots. So moving out from Gaza's war zone to Bradford riots, it wasn't much of a difference. It was quite shocking, really, to see police, helicopters all over the city. But 16 years later, I fell in love with the city. I became the first ever of Arab descent elected as president of the Students' Union back in the University of Bradford. And then I became involved in the chaplaincy position, which was an important role post the 7/7 bombings in London. Especially a lot of those people came from North, and a lot of most of us don't understand what happened back then. So I've lived through different eras and different experiences. I think the most interesting one of all was to go through the student union elections. Surprisingly, I got 60% of the votes back then. I was the only Arab and the first Arab. But when I stood up for my student union elections, it wasn't to do that I wanted to share anything about my own heritage and culture. To be honest with you, I felt more of a Bradfordian. Bradford in itself was a unique city that has its own characteristic. Living there made me realize I had to contribute. And obviously being Palestinian, it pushed me to be in a position where I'm able to represent myself, my culture, but also represent the city. So I felt it was very important as being Palestinian or being Arab, is as important representing the actual city of Bradford, which is in most cases is quite a disadvantaged city, educationally, socially, even economically. I'm very pleased to say that Bradford has been selected as the city of culture in 2025. So that's actually very important for our discussion today. That how could we, Southerners, contribute to that northern city, which Arabs, especially Syrian refugees, who've moved to that part of the country, who now contribute quite well to the society in Bradford. So, just today's discussion is as Omar said, is discussing the Arab contributions. I'll look into it and see, the pros, the cons, what the reasons behind Arabs moving up to this country. We all know, obviously, a lot of the reasons behind it, starting from the occupation of Palestine and the Zionists moving but also a lot of Arabs had different reasons to move here. They felt quite connected to this culture, quite connected to the UK in various ways. I'd like to hear that from our members and share our history and backgrounds and experiences together. So Omar, are we going to start? So you're going to talk first, and then we'll open up for discussion. Yeah. So I'll hand over to Omar.
Thank you, Khaled. Yeah, thank you so much for this introduction. You have covered most of the things I'm going to speak, but first I'll speak about the organization and about the funds we received from the Mayor of London University and the Authority of London. So I was lucky enough to be invited to Arab Explained workshop designed by the Mayor of London office and the British Arab Center and other organizations. That back in November or October last year. So the reason for that workshop, that the Mayor of London office has found that less Arabs are applying for the grants and projects by the Mayor of London than most of the other communities. And for that reason, Anna came to that event and started telling us there is lots of opportunities. We need the untold stories to be spoken about. We need to understand, the Arabs' contributions. We need to see the Arab culture. And, we had 25 Arab organizations attended that event. And the Mayor of London categories, they put we encourage within the application to the untold stories, we encourage people from Arab heritage to apply for this grant because we feel they are less representative. And we, as the Arab Community Center, have applied for this project. Our project was titled The Untold History of Arab Migrants and Refugees in West London. And that project has 3 activities. The first one is this workshop, which is a consultancy meeting with the community people or leaders to discuss the idea of having the first ever timeline of Arab contributions to the UK. The second activity of that project was to have an exhibition to show the refugees' artwork and music and performance in public spaces in London. And the third one was a community Arab and non-Arab community discussions, food, dance, dabka, knafa, everything, to show people that Arabs, refugees are normal people you can talk to, you can speak with, you can have discussion. Especially why this project is important. We have seen the move of the British government policies toward refugees. Just yesterday, the House of Lords have approved the they call it illegal refugees bill, which is from our point of view as people who migrated to this country, we feel it's anti-refugees, anti-migrants. And this is not just in the UK. By the way, I'm Irish Palestinian. You will be surprised that the nicest people on earth, Irish people, are planning to deport people to Rwanda now. Refugees to Rwanda. Irish people who welcome everyone and they suffered a lot, they are having plans to deport. So it's not just the British government is moving toward these anti-refugees, anti-migrant policies, it's happening in many countries. And we have seen in countries where politicians have spoken about how these refugees from Arab countries or Middle East are uneducated, are not civilized, they are not lots of descriptions which we've all seen and we all feel heard about. So this is about the project. So we thank the Greater London Authority, Mayor of London office for granting us this grant, because without this grant we wouldn't be here. So thank you to the office. We have Anna's representing the grant, the Greater London, diversity unit. We will speak, about everyone's position, in a second once we have everyone in here. But about the organization, why we had the Arab Community Center? We felt the invisibility of Arab people in the UK. So we have seen lots of Arab-related projects, like, alaykum salam. We have seen lots of Arab-related projects in the UK. However, we have seen a gap between the ordinary Arabs, the refugee Arabs, and these projects. So we are a grassroots organization which aims to connect Arabs, especially migrants, refugees. We don't differentiate between migrants and refugees. We are all Arabs. There's no difference if you come here through any way, if you are a professional, if you are a refugee. We are all human, we are all Arab, and we need to be inclusive. So we are grassroots, we are not from top to bottom, we are from the grass, we speak with people and we organize these events. We have three main goals. The first one is to help new migrants and refugees to settle, to engage, to be part of the community. We always receive emails and connections from Arabs, some Arabs who came here as refugees and they are unable to bring their family, so their children and wives are still back home and they have lots of problems. They sometimes have psychological problems, or sometimes they need to have someone to help them. So we help people with every day. So we have people who came here as there is refugee status and there is people who come as family only. These people are not able to study at universities because they cannot afford to pay the international fees. So if you are a refugee coming as part of your family union and you are 18, you cannot apply for student loan. You cannot be treated as home students. So you have to pay 25+ K a year to study. And these people are talented. Some of them have done the GCSE, the A-level, and they have been granted unconditional offers to study in the UK universities. We received lots of yesterday we have received an email from an Arab refugee saying, I was in one of the hostels and one person in the hotel said, I don't want to be with this person. And the hostel management had taken this Arab refugee from the room and put him in another room because this person doesn't like to be with a person with color. So it's not just about how to apply for a university grant or how to be connected with your family. There's lots of other issues which is more important, and you can imagine some people have seen other issues. So this is the first thing, is to help people to be integrated, to help them to settle in life. The second objective we have is to open open space for artists, for people, if people want to connect with organizations, if they want to do drama, if they want to do science, if they want to be working in any profession, we can connect them. And the third objective is which we are doing now is to archive and recognize the Arab contributions to the UK. In a second, we will speak more about this project, but we have seen Arabs less representative than most of other minorities. So, for example, when I think the UK have they studied how many people are in the UK and ethnicities. Lots of Arabs back in 2004 were advocating for having Arab as ethnicity, and now we are lucky to have in 2011 and 2021 we have Arab as. So when people ask what's your ethnicity, there's something called Other Arab, which is very good improvement. But still, in lots of universities, there is less representative of Arabs. So my wife came from Palestine. She went to study English at West London College, which is a governmental college. And she tried to say, I'm from Palestine, but in the college they don't have the country Palestine. Then the officer there said, I will put you in Saudi Arabia. So I mean, they think if someone who's Arab, they have this. I mean, we are in 2023, and people still feel Arab are one country, and I think they have. But I mean, there is still lots of work to be done. So in a second we will be speaking about this project. This project is supported by, as I mentioned, by the Mayor of London office and lots of Arabs. We have spoken with MPs, local councillors, and others, but they said like, you know, this is the vacation time, so most of them are either in their home cities or they have other commitments, but they wanted to hear about this. We have spoken with the Arab centers in the UK universities, and they are interested in joining us, and they said they are happy to. So, like, you know, South University, they have the Arab Center. They want to help us in this project, and they said they are happy to have a proper meeting and to do, like, you know, to make this project accurate and to have, like, you know, some like, you know, references and, like, to have people involved. So now I want to.
Can we do quick introductions?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, and I will be. Yeah. So we will. While we are having the introductions, I will bring the Arabic coffee so we can have coffee while we are doing the introduction. Yeah.
Perfect. So I think I'd like to have a quick introduction, if that's okay with you. Okay, to start from